Thank you and good morning. All right, 2 or 3 minutes. Wow, let me see if I can make that work. See, it's interesting that when he introduced me, he said doctor, because that was my original aspiration. I have a ghost that keeps chasing me. And it started when I was like 15, and I was in chemistry class. And the teacher, Mr. Savoy, I can say his name now because he's still in New York. Mr. Savoy was the head of the science department, and he became our chemistry teacher. He was terrible. So we complained, and we complained, and we complained. And the way they solved it was, they gave everybody in the class a 90. Well, I'm 15, give me a 90, I'm going to take it, I'm not going to complain, right? Fast forward a few years later, I'm now at Georgetown University. I want to become a doctor. I'm sitting in that chemistry class, and I'm saying, what? Everybody has their hands raised, and you don't know it. What? So, Mr. Savoy became my ghost. Flash forward a few years later, I'm now a science teacher at Bedford Academy in Brooklyn. And I vowed to myself, I'm not going to be a Mr. Savoy. I kept my students late. I worked them hard. I blocked the door. I threatened them. I said, you're not going to pass unless you come to tutor. And it did wonderful. Flash forward a few years later. We're now starting Bedford Academy with George Leonard. And my friend, who was also in that chemistry class so many years back, became Gaston. And I said, wait a minute. Here I had a chance to do the same thing that I did in my classroom, except on a school-wide scale. They gave us, academically probably the worst students that they had, and I'll say that because when we got them, they didn't have any schools because nobody wanted them. And we said at that moment that these kids will be the best students in New York City. So we worked them hard. We kept them after school. We threatened them. We pulled them from the bus stop. I've gone to people's houses and pulled them out of the bathroom. 1 year later, they had the highest passing rate on the state exam.
All right.
When freshmen weren't even allowed to take the exam. Most schools, they could have went sophomores. They took 3, and only 5 required for graduation. And they did 3. Flash forward, 4 years later, they're graduating 100% acceptance to colleges and over $1.5 million in grants and scholarships. So now we're getting a little bit of fame. We're in the newspaper. People come in and see us. And then the people from Washington, D.C., the Alumni Association came down and they visited us. We love your school. We want you to come to D.C. Okay. Flash forward 2 years. It took 2 years to get us down here. We're walking into Coolidge, Dunbar, Anacostia. In every other classroom, I saw my ghost, Mr. Savoy. And I said to myself, I'm going to put an end to this ghost. Flash forward 1 year later, we're in Washington, D.C., and we have the opportunity. We have the chance to make a difference in those kids' lives, so that when they sit in those college classrooms, they're not saying, what? I don't know that? What? We gotta put an end to those ghosts, because when teachers stand before students and administrators run buildings and they don't do what they're supposed to do, they not only steal money, they steal opportunity, they steal students' futures. See, the bottom line of Friends of Bedford is that there should be accountability from the rooftop to the basement, from in the building to out the building. Opportunity. When I look around this room, I never had opportunity. And I'm going to ask you, in the minute or so that I have left, to share that opportunity. I am where I am right now because of George Leonard, my mentor. So let me explain to you how that worked. He helped me get into college. When I was flunking out, he kept me in there. When I wanted the first job, he wrote my reference letter. He took me down to the bar in New York City. He paid the rent. He took me to the principal. He said, "This is my boy. You got to hook him up. I know he's fresh. I know he's green. But you got to hook him up. You gotta help him get a job." See, that's what it is to be a mentor. When you are a mentor to someone, it's like you put them on the accelerator. You put them on the fast track to success. And he was just a person. And because of him, I affected hundreds of lives. And when this is over, and we are done with DC, it will be thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands.
A few years back, we were told within ourselves as the board that we should not get involved in politics of the school and the instructional process. I disagreed with that a long time ago, and I think the fruits of that are now being shown that we have to be involved with that because there has to be a voice. Someone has to rally the cry for our kids. They can't do it. And now we're going to start to see some of the benefits of this last 22 years of us staying strong in Coolidge. We are the only alumni association of its kind in a high school here in D.C. Now, there are other alumni classes and so-called associations, but this room, we are very unique. We're just like a college-level alumni association. We have now given over $80,000, and we really need to step that up in scholarship money. So when you see the name CCAA, you say, well, I remember breakfast 22 years ago.